Good evening, I'm Lee Allen Smith, and I'm so pleased to be here with you all for the Oklahoma Commerce and Industry Hall of Honor. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Coach Barry Switzer. Barry and I became acquainted in his first year at OU in 1976. Barry was energetic and positive, and he had that great smile. As your coach at OCU, Oklahoma City University, Abe Lemons, the basketball coach, once said or wrote in a book to one of his friends, and I'm paraphrasing, "Barry, you are a man of all reasons." Most of you know Coach Switzer's stats, but I'm going to hold on reminding you of that till I tell you something that truly makes him outstanding in my opinion. Barry's work with Special Olympics is very near and dear to him. He brings them love, compassion, confidence, and he calls all the participants his teammates. Barry has been the honorary coach for the Special Olympics in Stillwater, Oklahoma, yes, Stillwater, Oklahoma, for 45 years. He takes this honor very seriously. As an example, he had a very lucrative offer to speaking engagement in Omaha, Nebraska. And the Special Olympics had to change their date, and it so happened that it turned out to be the same date as the speech in Nebraska. So Barry had to call, his loyalty made him call Nebraska folks and tell him he was not able to be there. They were disappointed, but they understood. But Barry says, "I'll get you a speaker that's better than I am, if that's okay with you." And they said, "Sure." Well, Barry was able to get Bill Self, who was an Oklahoman, right after he had won the NCAA basketball tournament for the Kansas Jayhawks. So everyone was happy. Now to his stats. He was at OU for 16 years. They won 3 national championships. They won the Big 12 12 times. They appeared in 13 bowl games. If that's not enough, Coach Barry Switzer, as the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers for the Super Bowl championship in 1996. That made Barry Switzer one of 3 coaches that have won both the NCAA football championship and the Super Bowl. His winning percentage was .837, pretty good. It's good enough that out of 100 coaches, he ranks 5th in that category. You know Coach Switzer won these games for his enthusiasm and of course his coaching ability. People don't fully realize the fantastic talent for recruiting and the love he has for his players. On the recruiting trail, he would help the mamas cook cornbread and beans and talk to the dads about their lives. Barry has always said, when you recruit for life. Coach Switzer would help his players after the playing days were over with financial assistance, with love, at weddings and participation in funerals. The love and caring continues to this day. Now let's give it up for the king, Barry Switzer. Barry, congratulations.
I knew I wasn't going to do what my dad did because my dad was a bootlegger. And my dad went to the Arkansas State Penitentiary in Arkansas, and I drove my mother up there every Sunday. My senior year in high school, my dad didn't get to see me play football because he was at Varner, the state prison farm, and I would drive her up there every Sunday. And
being the son of a bootlegger, there were a lot of things that could have prevented Barry Switzer from becoming who he is today. At a young age, Barry started playing football just because it was something to do.
With Daddy, we lived way out in the country. Had to ride an old yellow dog school bus to school every day, but I didn't get to ride at home because we had football practice. And when football practice was over, it was dark, I had to walk home. And so what happens is that I quit football. And the athletic director was a guy named Len Yarbrough. He graduated OSU. And he called me in his office and said, "Why'd you quit football? You're a good player. We need you." And I said, well, I told him why. He said, "I'm gonna arrange for some men in town to take you home every night." He got me a carpool to drive me home. Well, I don't know if I've ever stayed in football if it hadn't been for that.
Between the 8th grade and coaching at OU, Barry graduated college, served his country, and almost went to law school until Arkansas recruited him to be an assistant coach.
I would have never been the head coach at the University of Oklahoma had not Chuck Fairbanks probably left, because I had talked Chuck into changing offenses. I was the offensive coordinator, and we'd gone to the wishbone offense. And I knew that's what we should have been doing. We should have been doing it in 1970. He wanted to run the Houston Veer. We all didn't know anything about that, but I had an idea a lot about the wishbone. And I started my career that way. We went 32-1-1 my first 3 years. We had 2 undefeated seasons back to back, 2 national championships. And that's because of the players and coaches we had. And
Coach Switzer put OU on the map by bringing the best out of each athlete he recruited. Coach loved helping all athletes do their best and dedicated his time to those who needed him most.
I was honorary head coach of Special Olympics for 45 years in Oklahoma. I was very well connected into Special Olympics. Knew all the participants, the athletes, families. I made every opening ceremony consecutively for 45 years. I made all the winter games. I went to international games.
Barry has coached more games than he could count, but there's one loss that we all know he still thinks about.
But we were undefeated, ranked #1 in the country, and we go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're favored, and we're better than they are. But we fumbled 9 times that day. If they'd done that for us, we'd have 100 on them, but that didn't happen. And Billy Sims makes a great run. To put the ball at the 3-yard line, we're gonna go in, score, and win it with 2 minutes to go in the game. And fumbles the ball, gets knocked out of his arm, and he's fighting to stay up to try to get in the end zone. If he'd just gone down, we'd had the ball and won the game. But we fumbled that one. We couldn't overcome that when the game's over, and we lose that. And that always ate at me.
There are some moments he'll never forget, and there are some players that he will always remember.
I have 3 brothers that played at the same time. All 3 started at the same time. All 3 were All-American. And they went 54-3-1 when they played. And that's never happened in any other school. Never happened before, and never happened since. Great leaders, great players. God bless Miss Selman.
That's right. God bless Mrs. Selman. When Barry's time at OU came to an end, a simple phone call from a friend kept Barry coaching.
And Jerry says, "You want to coach the Cowboys?" And I said, "I didn't know the job was open, Jerry." And he says, "Well, it's going to be." And I said, "Well, hell, call me when the job's open." And he did. Next day, he called and says, "Come to Dallas." That was my interview for the Dallas Cowboys. Pro football is totally different than the college game. As I said, the college game, you got them for 4 or 5 years, you know. But the game is totally different. It's about winning, getting the Super Bowl. College game, you just spend more time with them off the field. You eat with them, you're in the chow hall, you're in the dorm with them, and you're with them 24 hours. Being a coach, you recruit them, you got them for life. They're yours. They're just an expansion of your family. And I was, in many cases, you're the closest thing they've had to a father if they didn't have a father. I just say, be a positive person, get a smile on your face, and go on down the road, and things aren't as bad as you think they are. And I think that it's the best way to go about life. You know, you're dealt one hand. You got to play it out. You don't fold, do you? Regardless of who you are or where you're from. I've had some tough things I've had to handle. Mother committing suicide when she was young, and my dad being murdered, shot by a black woman because he caught him with another black woman. You know, those things I dealt with in my early youth. But you know, just made me a stronger and better person.
For all you have done in our community, we'd like to thank you by honoring you with the Oklahoma Commerce and Industry Hall of Honor Outstanding Achievement Award.